What is going on, guys? This is Joeyboy, finally bringing you guys some all-new content. It has been a while. It's been over a month now, I believe, since I put up my last video, and I do want to apologize for that. I know I'm just so thankful for all the support you guys have given me. So I am sorry it's been a while since the last video, but I hope you'll all understand, as I'm sure you do. It's been a very busy time in my own life. Just a lot of things going on, really wrapping up a lot of big stuff. But I have not forgotten about you guys, and I still want to bring you guys quality content whenever I can. I am gonna kind of shift things around in my schedule so I will have more time to record, and hopefully just bring you guys a lot more videos. I'll be continuing doing Pokemon, but I am gonna begin putting some of the game Hearthstone into my repertoire of games that I'll probably be recording. It's a game I've been having a lot of fun with. I made just a quick little intro video which you guys can check out, but other than that, you can look forward to plenty of more Pokemon related content and some new Hearthstone content. So with all that said, let's jump into this game. This is a game from the SPL Finals that is going on as I record this. The finals for one of Smogon's biggest Premier League tournaments. And this game is from dragonuser, who is representing the Cryonicles, and Tsunami, who is representing the Stark Sharks. Some players may recognize Tsunami by his older name that he used in the Black and White generation, which was King. He was a pretty well-known player on PO. He's changed his name to Tsunami. And of course, dragonuser, another really well-known name in Black and White. And both players have transitioned really well into the X and Y generation. So with those little introductions out of the way, now let's take a look at the team preview. Team preview, it cannot be overstated how important it is in this metagame, especially with how quick and offensive the metagame really is. You know, we've been seeing quite a lot of a revival kind of stall, because there are a lot of really potentially super bulky Pokemon. And we have been seeing more stall than maybe we would have seen in Black and White. But the metagame is still wickedly offensive, you know, and there's just a lot of Pokemon that if you give them even just a little room to breathe, they're just going to go wild and just sweep your team. And we see a lot of those Pokemon on these teams right now, actually. So, first thing you might notice about these teams is that 3 of the Pokemon are the same on both teams, namely Thundurus, Greninja, and Mawile. And we'll talk about Thundurus first, because it has really been the star of this SPL tournament. You know, Genesect was the most popular Pokemon in the beginning of the tournament, but was subsequently banned, and that spot had to be filled, and Thundurus is really the Pokemon that has jumped at that spot. It is easily the most used Pokemon in the SPL, and for good reason. A lot of it comes from, it has to be said, from Prankster Thunderwave. Prankster is its ability that gives priority to non-damaging moves, meaning that you can Thunderwave a Pokemon that would otherwise run wild on your team. And so what I was saying before really it really brings out why Thundurus is so good. You know, I was saying there's so many Pokemon that if you give them just an inch, they're gonna take you for a mile and just destroy you. And Thundurus is an amazing kind of oh no button. You know, you've let something set up and you really need to deal with it. Thundurus is a great Pokemon to have. It's gonna shut down almost every offensive threat. In a metagame just fueled on offensive threats, Thundurus is really shining. And of course, its other ability, Defiant, allows it to kind of be an anti-defogger. It's not as often used, but it can be just as detrimental. So Thundurus, of course, it's easy to see why it's on both of these teams. The next 2 Pokemon are a little different. Greninja is a Pokemon, while it had a a heyday kind of in the beginning of the generation. It was one of those new Pokemon. It has great offensive stats and a great offensive ability. It's kind of been losing a lot of traction, kind of falling to the wayside to Pokemon that a lot of players think do everything the right way, that Greninja would do, but better. A great example of this is Deoxys, who plays a very similar role as Greninja if you give it that offensive moveset, and arguably does it better. Greninja probably hits harder thanks to its ability, but Deoxys' speed can just be a great, again, a great stop to a lot of Pokemon. So it's interesting to see Greninja on both of these teams. We really haven't seen a whole lot of it in the SPL, but it's a very interesting Pokemon and definitely deserves respect. The third Pokemon is a Pokemon I know you guys know I love. It's Mawile. In my opinion, I mean, really in my opinion, it's one of the top 3 threats, I think, in the metagame. You know, I've been away for a little while, and Mawile still doesn't quite get the respect I think it deserves. You know, Mega Pinsir, Mega Charizards are kind of the pinnacle of Mega Pokemon to a lot of people, but I don't know, Mega Mawile for me is just incredibly threatening. And you can see that if you inspect the SPL statistics, which I can link in the description. It's definitely deserving of a look. Mawile in those statistics is the only Pokemon that has a fairly solid representation, so it's used in over 10% of the games, and it is the only Pokemon above 10% that has a win rate of 85%. What I mean when I say that is that if Mawile was used in an SPL game, 85% of the time that player won, which is a huge statistic. It has the highest statistic win rate of any of the commonly used Pokemon. You know, there are some Pokemon like Alakazam, which was used maybe twice in the SPL, but it won both those games. So there are Pokemon with higher win rates, but not Pokemon that are as commonly used as Mawile. So I think that's probably the reason why we're seeing it on both of these players' teams. It's really starting to get a lot more of the respect I think it deserves. Finally, the other kind of oddity that I see on these teams is Tsunami bringing Goodra. Goodra is a Pokemon that has really fallen out of favor with a lot of players, because many players, and kind of myself included, believe a Pokemon like Latias, which we see on dragonuser's team, will play a lot of the same roles that Goodra does, kind of being a bulky dragon type, but will do it better. You know, Latias has a lot of great utility, and it's really high speed base speed stat, and it has defog, which can be really clutch in a lot of games. We see, of course, that Tsunami is using a rapid spin user, kind of implying that he wants to keep Stealth Rocks on his opponent's side without losing them on his own side. But it has to be said that Latias does carry a lot more utility than Goodra, but will lose out on bulk. Goodra is definitely bulkier than Latias. Finally, we see a lot of really common Pokemon. Talonflame is what rounds out Tsunami's team. Hugely threatening, a Pokemon that you definitely have to have a check on. You have to check in every team. And finally, Dragonuser has Garchomp and Deoxys, again, 2 phenomenal offensive threats who are going to consistently put a ton of pressure on your opponent. Now we have analyzed these teams thoroughly, I believe. Let's take a look at this game. We're going to be seeing Dragonuser lead off with Greninja, while Tsunami leads off with Talonflame. This is a matchup that is kind of uncommon for a lead matchup, and we see Talonflame. Oh, you wonder if that was a min-max roll, because Greninja living with 6% is just going to turn what Tsunami may have thought had been an early lead into an early tie. Talonflame was going to probably have a lot of potential later in the game, taking out Pokemon like Deoxys with its priority Brave Bird. But of course, Tsunami has his Mawile out now, and Deoxys is going to have to switch out. It cannot take a potential Sucker Punch from this Mawile. We see dragonuser bring out his own Mawile, which is just going to get punished by Mega Mawile. That is a -1 neutral hit, and it does 75%. That is huge. Mega Mawile already showing why it deserves your respect, easily taking out dragonuser's Mawile for a quick lead for Tsunami. Tsunami's now going to have to switch out of this Garchomp, probably predicting an Earthquake here, which is why he goes into Thundurus, which dragonuser is going to do. He was not going to give that Mawile any room to breathe, but of course this gives all the momentum back to Tsunami, as dragonuser is going to go out into his Latias, which is going to soak up that Psychic beautifully. But I have a feeling we're going to see, yep, why Thundurus is so good. It is going to get a priority Thunder Wave off on that Latias, and now Latias has lost a lot of utility. Again, like I said before, its high base speed is really why Latias is used a lot, and now it does not have that. Tsunami now going to bring out his Excadrill on the predicted Draco Meteor, and it's going to take a lot of damage. Life Orb Draco Meteor is going to hurt anything, especially a Pokemon that does not heavily invest in bulk. Of course, dragonuser now going to switch out on this Excadrill. You know, he's not in a very solid position with that Latias, and Tsunami's going to take this time to get up his rocks. Those rocks are really going to be helpful, whittling down his opponent, but he doesn't want to stay in on this Thundurus. That Excadrill is probably going to be pretty important, just his nice little checks, and of course he's got a beautiful check for this Thundurus in Goodra, and it's, look, it takes a critical hit, Life Orb, super effective hit from Thundurus, and it does 40%, just under. And we're going to see another critical hit, so here we go. It has to be said, Goodra really was a great choice in this situation because it has the bulk to eat 2 critical hit Life Orb hits, which Latias definitely could not have done. So Goodra kind of showing its chops there, taking out that Thundurus, which is just going to be a huge win for Tsunami's side. And we see dragonuser bring out Garchomp. We'll probably just see Tsunami sack his Goodra. It's done all the job he could ever hope for it to do, has really kind of cemented his lead in this game. And we see a Stone Edge come out from Garchomp, which will easily be able to take out the Goodra, although he did risk the miss there, which could have been devastating. So now Tsunami going to go out into Excadrill. This switch out from Garchomp is definitely going to tell us he's choice scarfed. More than likely, he might be banded. It's pretty safe to assume though he's a choice scarf Garchomp. This Earthquake not going to hit Latias, which tells us this is not a Mold Breaker. A Mold Breaker Excadrill. It's going to go for that Rock Slide. Not going to be able to take out Latias. We'll see if the Thunder Wave. Nope. It is going to break through that paralysis and take out Excadrill. But this Latias is on its very last legs. And it is now 3-3. But of course this Latias is just Death Fodder. And Tsunami's going to bring out his Thundurus here because it really puts him in a great position. Dragonuser in a lot of trouble already. This has been a incredibly fast-paced game because of all these offensive threats. That Latias, of course, is going to go right down to Thundurus. Nothing stopping it there. And Deoxys Speed is going to come in, but you know what? I think we can all say with certainty what's going to happen here. We're going to see a Thunder Wave from Tsunami, and this is just Thundurus doing what it does best, shutting down these offensive threats. Deoxys Speed, you know, always has the potential to finish games right at the end because of how quick it is. But Thunder Wave just removes that. It removes the thing that makes Deoxys so good, and we're going to see Deoxys get paralyzed, which is unfortunate, but he really didn't need it to clinch this game, I don't think. Thundurus is going to take it out, and now he brings in Garchomp, which we are almost certain is Scarfed. If it's not, it really doesn't matter. I can't see this Garchomp living either a Greninja or a Mawile. So we see him go for the Outrage. Of course, this tells us that Tsunami has the game in the bag, as Mawile is immune to Outrage and will surely be able to take out this Garchomp with really any of its attacks. And we see a very cool finish here from Mawile, a Focus Punch. because it's gonna get this off because it's immune to outrage. So Tsunami will finish dragonuser off with style. Mega Mawile using Focus Punch to end the game, and what a game it was. And I wanted to show you guys this game because it really, that was, I mean, 18 turns was how quick that game was, which is incredibly quick. You know, you can see games go way, way, way longer if teams are just built a little more defensively. But this is a great little glimpse of the metagame right now because it is so offensive. You know, we didn't even see some of the most offensive threats. You know, Mega Pinsir, while I did say Mega Mawile deserves respect, Mega Pinsir deserves just as much. It is insanely powerful at just deconstructing teams. Mega Gyarados. All these Pokemon can just tear apart a team if you just give them the littlest bit of space. So, there you go. That was an extraordinary game between two fantastic players at really the highest stage of the game, the SPL Finals. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be casting a few more of these SPL games because they really are just some of the best Pokemon playing that you'll see. I'll also, you know what, I'll leave a description to the SPL stats page, which you guys can check out. Just a ton of really amazing data. I might even do a video kind of recapping that data perhaps when the tournament is over and we can really just get our fingers dirty, you know, scouring this data. I'll also leave a link to the just to the page that has all of the SPL replays. They've been doing a really, really awesome job with this tournament, just getting all of these replays saved and put in a really public place so everyone can look at them. So that's really awesome, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll be seeing more games very soon, hopefully, and it's good to be back. I hope you guys enjoy this new video, and I'll see you next time.